this is how we get down. What's good, everybody? Welcome in. 2026 has officially started right here and right now. We've had some shows the last week or so, but we are back in the friendly confines. The NFL season is over, and we've got 60 minutes all over the Stadium Network, Prime Video, YouTube TV, DirecTV. The list goes on and on. Over the course of the next 2 to 4 weeks, you're going to see some very subtle changes in our show for 2026. Nothing crazy. But just a little bit, I think you guys will enjoy that as well. We want you also to know that we're going to be adding a lot of premium content on the wrestling side, but also on the sports side. So we'll be throwing up the QR code throughout the show. You can become a premium member, and you can do it right now. I promise you. We do premium pop-ups all throughout the week, a lot of live betting, a lot of fun. It pays for itself in like one live bet, but it's more about the community. It's more about that. We're also going to be adding something called News of the Day right off the top of the show. And what about the image of Sunday? Because last night, the NFL season ended the way that it should have, right down to the final play. And this young kid, feel bad for him, Tyler Loop, but that's his head coach, John Harbaugh, after he missed a game-winning field goal. And the Ravens will be going home, and the Steelers will be moving on to play on Monday Night Football. We'll get into all of that coming up in about 30 minutes. Now, other news of the day, well, it is certainly the Monday after the final Sunday in the NFL. That means head coaches being fired. And so far, we have two. Kevin Stefanski of the Cleveland Browns, he is gone. And according to a lot of reports, he's going to be a top candidate for other jobs. He's highly regarded, just apparently not in Cleveland. And then also Raheem Morris, he loses his second NFL head coaching job. Back in 2011, he was fired by the Bucs, who, by the way, were ousted yesterday with a win. If you saw any of the video of Baker Mayfield that his wife posted, it was kind of cool, a cool look into what an actual NFL player does when they have no control over whether or not their team actually goes to the playoffs. So congratulations goes out to the Carolina Panthers for getting in with a loss. Now, coming up over the course of the next 60 minutes, in about 15 minutes, we get into our weekend rewind. It will be all things NFL. Then in 30 minutes, we look back on the season that was, and then we look forward to Wild Card Weekend because it's never too early. And then in 45 minutes, 8 NBA games on the docket today. We've got 2 that are sliding into our focus. But we are also a sports betting show, and I want to have 5 great days of betting. So I don't do this by myself. No, my team is ready. Hopefully you are too. It's time. Let's beat the books. Oh, and here on a Monday, look who I have. And right on brand, his Wi-Fi goes out right as we bring him on. So DG's in Memphis. We'll get back to him in a second. But first and foremost, he was here every single Sunday morning for the last 18, and that needs to be commended. He is our numbers guy for a reason. Say good morning to Rafael Esparza. Good morning, Rafael.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, family. What a great Sunday we had in Week 18. A lot of good puzzles that were made yesterday. It was a very interesting Sunday.
And a lot of people that were in Tampa wanted the Saints to win, and that is our guy's team. And he's live from the dirty Big Chuck. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Coach Man Company. Yeah, my apologies to the Bucks fans. My Saints couldn't get it done. I had a feeling they might come up just a little short. They covered, though. That's a silver lining. So, yeah, excited to get this week going.
Yeah, they did cover the 3.5 despite the interception with 3.5 minutes to go. That was I could only imagine the image of Baker Mayfield as they were just going right down the field for a go-ahead, and then he throws that INT. Oh, just gut-wrenching. But the Bucks, they had all the opportunities in the world. They cannot blame anybody but themselves. And finally, he is the executive producer for BetMGM tonight that just moved over to Westwood One, I believe. Is that right, Brandon? You guys are in Westwood One now? All right. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, company. Chuck, don't you dare apologize to Bucks fans. That's what they get for putting it in the hands of the Saints anyway. What are you apologizing to them for? you should be happy for me because I bet the Panthers to win the division before the season started.
Oh my God!
Congratulations!
You seem to have a lot of winning tickets the last couple of weeks, so you had a really good end of the season. So good for you. By the way, the new haircut. I was traveling this week and I watched. If anybody hasn't seen it, there's a new documentary, Brandon, on the Marines on Netflix. Have you guys seen it? It's a 4-parter. Have you guys seen it yet?
I have not yet, but I'm going to.
Oh my goodness. It is complete behind the scenes. And they do it just like a reality show. They have like 4 or 5 characters that are Marines, young cats. You get to see a lot of things. And after the weekend, for what we had in the United States, I think you guys want to go watch that documentary. All right, gentlemen, it's going to be a big year for us. We take ourselves seriously, but we don't take our content seriously. We're about to have a lot of fun. We educate, we entertain, and we also like to cash some tickets. So the question is this for our, oh my guy. My guy is stepping up. Raphael wants all the smoke. Best bets, start us off. Go.
I want all the smoke because today is the FCS championship game in Nashville. We have football tonight, boys and girls. Illinois State Redbirds and Montana. Should be a great game because there's a Cinderella keep her slipper tonight. Illinois State, 4 straight road wins. They even beat North Dakota State. But I think the slipper comes off because the Bobcats are too big up front and they're going to be able to run the ball. Montana wins. But Illinois State covers the plus 10.5. It's going to be a really close game. I'm excited to watch that. And then give me SFA, McNeese State over 142 in college basketball. Stephen F. Austin, they should be able to control the tempo in the backcourt and score some points. I really like this game because SFA averages 80 points per game. It's going to be a really high-scoring game. Should be fun to watch. A lot of points.
Yeah, the college basketball NBA really going to start to take center stage now that we're into January. But, Raphael, I'll be honest with you. Until this morning, I had forgotten that the FCS finals was tonight. And Illinois State, they're not a team that in recent memory has been a great FCS team.
No, they've been pretty bad. And like I said, the Cinderella's keeping her slipper on. It's going to be a great game. I'm rooting for them, but I just think Montana, they're so big up front. I think they're just going to push away. But I can see a cover. Backdoor cover, lose.
Yeah. Feels like it could be a boring game to me. I'm surprised that you didn't suggest for us to do the Monday night grind for the FCS game tonight. By the way, the playoff games are the 8th and the 9th. So I believe it's Thursday and Friday this week for the college football playoffs as well. All right, Big Chuck, coming over to you. What do you got for us today?
A little day soccer. We're going to the England Championship. Leicester City, West Brom, and the Foxes, they just can't seem to keep a clean sheet in the first half. They've allowed a first half goal in 4 straight and 7 in total over that span. I like West Brom, or shall I say the Baggies, to keep that trend going. Give me West Brom, first half team total over a half a goal, and a little stay on your toes. The both teams to score. That was option B for me. I think a 1-1 might be justified in this one. And then the NHL nightcap, Detroit, Ottawa. The Senators, they've been scoring goals pretty on a repeat basis. Their total has went over in 5 of the last 7. And Detroit on the road, the Red Wings seem to light up the scoreboard regularly as well. 6 of 9 have went over the total. I will go ahead and back the over 6 in O-Town.
Yeah, 5 games tonight on the ice. NHL's been a lot of fun lately. And routinely, the overs have been 6, 6.5. I haven't seen a 7 yet. Oh, come on.
It's over, Coach.
It's not over.
2026, it's over.
It's never over till I say it's over. Okay, now it's over. All right, so DG's his Wi-Fi is out, but I'm going to read his plays. Hornets, first quarter, Thunder, over. Is that 56.5? Because my eyes suck.
Yes.
Is that 56.5, Raphael?
Yes.
The Hornets have been a terrific first quarter team. I cashed on them the other night, minus 110. The Thunder, the only reason I didn't play the first quarter tonight on this game is because the Thunder had a hard-fought late loss on a late 3 by Devin Booker last night. So I just felt like the Thunder would come out slowly, which is why I have one of my plays there. But it's a good pick, and I tell you what, Kneppel has turned into an absolute all-star. Nuggets and the San Francisco 46ers first quarter over 55.5, minus 110. The Nuggets are not very good without Nikola Jokic. I mean, not good at all. But the Sixers have become a scoring machine. So I like both of these first quarter plays. So let's come over to mine. If you're going to cash with the coach, I'm telling you right now, I am so focused on my plays this year. I love the Suns Rockets fading the total tonight, under 222.5. Now, why am I going to do that? Well, the Suns last night scored 108 against the Thunder, but it was the energy they had to put out. The Rockets, 4 of the last 5 games, they've gone under this number. This is going to be more of the same of what we saw last night. So I think we're going to get to around 210, 215. We're going to have 6 or 7 points to spare here. And then in that Hornets game, I like the Hornets getting the 5 in the first quarter. In fact, 4 of the last 5 games for the Hornets, they have stayed within this number. And in 3 of those games, they have led after the first quarter. I think they come out hot tonight. I think the Thunder are going to have a little bit of a hangover from last night. So I like getting the 5 in the first quarter tonight for the Hornets. Brandon, my guy, talk to me.
Coach, let's go over to the hardwood. You're going to give me the Pistons at home on the money line against a Knicks team that's dealing with injuries and has lost 3 straight, and you're going to give me plus money? Take my money. Take it. Pistons money line plus 120 all day long tonight. I think they come out on fire. I think they beat the Knicks by double digits, maybe even 20. I'll take the Pistons all day. Let's go Rangers minus 1.5 against the Utah Mammoth at plus 200. They give up a goal and a half with the Rangers, who scored at an insane clip. The Utah Mammoth give up goals at an insane clip. And look, I know the Rangers have been porous at home, but they get over that hump tonight against the Utah Mammoth. Give me the Rangers minus 1.5 at plus 200.
By the way, don't think for a second that I'm going to let that just slide by. Did anybody else hear what Brandon just said? Anyone? You said the Pistons could beat the Knicks by 20? 20 tonight?
I did. Yeah.
Raphael, your thoughts?
I don't know about 20. Maybe I bring around 6 or 8, but I don't think 20. Double digits, I don't see happening.
Big Chuck?
This is not out of the realm of possibility. This Knicks team is struggling, and I can't believe the Pistons are dogs at home. That's still baffling to me.
They had a long road trip that they really started to fumble at the end. But the team that got them right back on track right before they came home was who? LeBron James, Luka Doncic, those Lakers who now all of a sudden suck. Brandon, as we head into it, because obviously you do a 4-hour show every single night, how much you guys going to be concentrating on the NBA moving forward?
Moving forward after February 8th, we will be covering it quite a bit. But between now and then, Coach, NFL rules, baby.
NFL rules. There are 14 teams left, by the way, in the NFL. We've got 2 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday, and then they do have a Monday Night Football playoff game as well. Raphael, real quick, yesterday, there wasn't a lot of games that mattered. What was kind of your feeling as you watched a lot of those games that were very, very yucky until last night?
Late afternoon, I actually felt bad for the bettors because they got crushed in the late afternoon games. Just the way the Fed fell, it was just a bad storyline in the second half of football games yesterday.
Yeah, somewhere Mikey P is, and Brandon, it's your squad as well. They were shut out until the fourth quarter and then scored 16 straight, then lost on a late field goal. Does that help the Bears or hurt them? That it almost looked like they were one of those teams that didn't even want to win, even though they did have something to play for.
Yeah, look, they just came out flat. They were just one of those teams. The offense looked flat. The defense played better than what they played in San Francisco. I like the way that this team looks going into the playoffs. I trust Ben Johnson. I trust this team. I don't think there's a team in the NFC that they can't beat, but I didn't like the way they looked yesterday.
All right, we're going to talk about all things NFL coming up in 20 minutes. Also coming up in about 4 minutes, we're going to look back at the Weekend Rewind. There'll be a lot of NFL storylines there as well. Also, at our breaks, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, we'll be hitting on news coming out of Ole Miss and LSU. The gift that just keeps on giving is one Lane Kiffin, and we're not going to bring up hot yoga. I promise you. We're just getting started here in 20 and 26. So glad you all could find us. You start your morning with us, and we have today 3 big shows coming out of BTT Studios. This is Coach and Company, live, as always, right here on Stadia. All right, you degenerates that continue to watch on our YouTube page, we love you guys so very, very much. Gentlemen, shocking if we would have had a video, kind of a Back to the Future type of situation 4 months ago. And I told you guys that Patrick Mahomes, that Joe Burrow, and that Lamar Jackson, all three would not be in the postseason. Raphael, what would you have said?
Crazy, but health is probably the big reason why all three of them are not in there, because all three of them had injuries all season long. So if you kind of look at the injuries, I blame the injuries, not just the teams itself.
Big Chuck, what about you?
I'll call a little cap on you. But I'd say maybe two of the three wouldn't have been in there, but we know that the Super Bowl hangover is a real thing. So Mahomes could be excused, and Burrow has a history of injuries. So 2 of 3, but not all three.
And I don't know what the over was, Brandon, in Burrow playing with his hair in the post game, but it had to be like 12 or 13 rollbacks. What did you make of these three and all three different ways not making it to the playoffs?
Yeah, 2 of the 3 I definitely did not see because I really thought that the Bengals and the Ravens were going to fight it out for the North, but the Joe Burrow injury just absolutely killed them. I would have told you back then, I would have told you were crazy if you thought all 3 were missing. But my plus 900 ticket on the Chiefs to miss the playoffs just cashed in yesterday.
Do you just throw stuff out there like next year? Here's no, don't clap, Big Chuck. Next year, you're going to send me all of your plays before the season because every show you're like, yeah, my plus 45 to 1, my 60 to 1. Haven't seen it.
I have a show called BetMGM Tonight. You can see all of my picks there because I do them all live.
I don't have time to watch 4 hours every single night. I don't have time for
Neither
that.
do I.
Very, very, very true. All right. Also, by the way, Myles Garrett did get the sack. Little anticlimactic, I'll be honest. Seemed very, very easy. Was he gifted? I wouldn't say that. But that's part of what we like to call the Weekend Rewind. We're going to get into it right now coming up on the other side because there were a lot of storylines yesterday, even though the games weren't all that great. We're back live on the Stadium Network with Weekend Rewind in just 5 seconds. All right, boys. NFL season, regular season, it is now in the rear view mirror. 14 teams have made it into the playoffs. The Broncos and the Seahawks, they will get a first-round bye as they have secured the number 1 seed. So, Brandon, Raphael, my guys, let's bring you back on now. I want to look back at several topics from the weekend, but Brandon, I'm going to start with you. Where would you like to take your attention first?
Look, the Philadelphia Eagles, what are you doing? You had a chance at the 2 seed, which gives you an extra home game in January. Instead, you decide to sit all of your starters knowing that the Bears are playing the Detroit Lions, who absolutely, positively are going into Chicago wanting to beat them and wanting to send them down to the 3 seed. That's their Super Bowl this year because they're not going to the playoffs. And instead, you sit your starters. It was a bonehead decision. I don't know what you were thinking. And now, because of it, you've only got the 1 home game, and now you've got to face the Rams.
I saw a lot of people. Yeah. No, they're playing the Niners. It would have been the Packers. Yeah. They would have had the Packers who are hurt, not playing very good football, and the Niners. And I saw, I like to interact when I'm bored on Sunday night sometimes. I don't know why I do it. I'm just a sucker. But a lot of people said, well, Coach, the Bears are going to lose anyway. You can't count on that. The 49ers, they sucked. You see what they did against the Seahawks. You can't count on that. They won 6 games in a row before that Seahawks game. To me, Brandon, it was so mind-numbingly stupid. But Nick Sirianni has kind of entered, in my mind, into the realm of head coaches that I want to see him lose. And I don't do that very often. But that yesterday was, and if you're his players, what are you thinking, Brandon? If you're one of his players and he walks in and goes, nope, Jalen Hurts is not going to play today. And we're happy to go on the road for the semis and the NFC Championship if we get that far. What do you think the players said?
To me, this is how you lose a locker room because I fought my ass off all year to get into the playoffs and to get a good seed, to play a better schedule, to be at home during the playoffs, and instead you just gave it away.
Gave it away.
We're playing a bad Commanders team.
Just gave it away. All right, Raphael, my guy, let me come over to you. Where are you focused on today based off the weekend?
The last game we saw, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens. Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers are the AFC North champions. I said it on one of the shows that I thought they were going to win the division. Everyone laughed at me, but it happened. And I am such a big fan of that backfield. Ward and Gainwell are the main reasons why they won that game. In the second half, they were able to control the run game, and Gainwell was probably like wide receiver 1 yesterday. It was fantastic to watch him. They outscored the Ravens 23-14. Yes, we could have lost the game in a missed field goal at the end, but I don't care. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the AFC North. They're my biggest surprise yesterday.
They might have a lucky rabbit's foot somewhere tucked away because they get stopped on a 4th down, which I actually agreed with at the end of the first half. Last play, they had it at the 1 after a pass interference, and they get stopped. So that was 7 points off the board. The extra point on the touchdown late in the 4th quarter that caused it to be a 2-point game, that was something as well. And then to have that missed field goal when most kickers, but that kid's a rookie. I hope he can bounce back. But all of those things had to happen for them to win and move on to play a team that a lot of people probably don't want to play, and that's the Houston Texans. Brandon, what did you make of the Steelers last night?
They lucked into a playoff spot. I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers guy anyway, but I'm definitely not an Aaron Rodgers guy in the playoffs. I don't think that's going to matter for them because I think this Texans squad is going to eat this offensive line alive, and Aaron Rodgers will be lucky to make it out of the first half in that game.
By the way, is Cameron Hayward not the most professional badass that you've seen in a long time? That dude was in every single play. Every single play. By the way, the Texans traveled to Pittsburgh. There's that old conversation that comes up every single year. Should it be a record thing and not a win a division type of thing? Because the Panthers are hosting a game against the Rams, who are 12-5. But I digress. Gentlemen, there was another gambling situation, betting situation yesterday, and that's what I want to focus on. And I don't know why LaFleur did it. It was 16-0, and people didn't see this, and you just saw the final score. It was 16-0. Clock is just ticking down. The ball's at the 5. Tick, 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 tick. And with 1 second to go, he calls a timeout. Down 16. The spread went off on some books at 13.5. Certainly at 13. He trots his field goal unit out and kicks a field goal. And everybody all afternoon was like, what the hell did he just do? He had to know, Raphael, I'm going to come to you first. He had to know that when he kicks that field goal, there's going to be all kinds of conspiracy theorists that say, what the hell was he thinking? It meant absolutely nothing. If anything, call the timeout and try to score a touchdown. But why do you think he kicked that field goal?
I think most players know the point spreads. I don't think the coaches know the point spreads. So I'm puzzled on why he did that. My phone blew up when he did that. Called the fix is in. You always tell us it's not fixed. I'm puzzled why he did it, but it made a lot of people angry yesterday.
A lot of people were angry. That's like the second time. Remember we saw the game in Las Vegas a few weeks ago. Yeah. Where that happened, a late timeout by Pete Carroll, and then he kicks a field goal. Brandon, what did you make of that yesterday?
Look, I think the coaches absolutely know what the point spreads are. I think they look at it. I think they know where the money lies. I think they know who they want to favor and who they don't want to favor. I think they know all of that stuff. So it doesn't surprise me. And plus, look, Matt LaFleur, I can't stand that guy anyway. So yeah, no, absolutely. I think he knew what the spread was.
A couple other big stories from the weekend, guys. The New York Giants, apparently they decided, let's wait till the final 2 weeks of the season and play good football. The Dallas Cowboys knew what time it was. They played Dak for a quarter and a half, so they can't be told, hey, you didn't try. And then they bring in their backup, Joe Milton, who made the mistakes that you assumed that he would make. The Giants, Raphael, win their final 2, which played them out of a top pick in the NFL draft. Now, it may not be a big issue. They already have their quarterback, so there's a lot of good players at different positions. But were you surprised that they played to win?
No, because I think they're auditioning for free agents to try to come to this young team that's going to have a brand new head coach. So I wasn't surprised. I like them ending their season on a winning streak to bring these free agents and say, hey, you know what? This team is going upwards in this division. It's a bad division.
There were a lot of incentives yesterday also, Brandon, and almost every single one outside of Dawson Knox that we focused on the Sunday morning show Didn't hit.
Mm-mm.
Didn't hit.
Shocked.
Bijan Robinson, nothing. Shakur, nothing. I hate to use that conspiracy theorist again, but these were 150, 250, sometimes $500,000 incentives that very few players hit. What did you make of that?
Yeah, no, a lot of people were playing those too. I was one of them. We were talking about it yesterday. I wanted a lot of these things to hit, and I put money. This is how you, in the betting world, in week 18, this is how you make your money. You start putting your money down on guys that need to make money and need to hit numbers to make that money. But there were a lot of guys that had numbers that were just impossible. I mean, you're talking about Eric Armstead, who needed 2.5 sacks. I think he's only done that once in his career. You needed a guy that needed 93 rushing yards, who had only hit it once all season. It's just, you got all of these numbers. You have to be smart about it and look at where these numbers lie. There were not a lot of unattainable incentives yesterday.
That's such a great point. It's sometimes bettors get caught up in we could hit it and help them win all that money. It's just a narrative that sports books absolutely love. Now, speaking of sacks, Raphael, Myles Garrett did not have an incentive for sacks in his contract because he makes $50 million a year already. But he did get it. He did get to 23. And I always like it when they can go back to a studio show and the guy who just had the record broken sits there and acts like he's happy for that guy, because you got to believe Michael Strahan in no way, shape, or form was happy about having his record broken. What do you think?
I think Michael Strahan looked at his bank account and he's like, I'm doing okay. I'm not really worried about a sack record, but I actually watched the Browns game just for that reason, to watch him break his record, and I was nervous. The whole first half, he was double teamed, wasn't even close to getting a sack. Now I'm watching the second half thinking, oh my God, I'm sitting here watching a guy not break a record, but he did get it. Congratulations to him.
We do have some breaking news, guys, coming in right now from the Cincinnati Bengals, who the Browns played yesterday. And the Bengals have announced that Zach Taylor will be retained, and he will stay the head coach of the Bengals. This is probably the cheapest franchise in all of the NFL. Brandon, does this surprise you?
Yeah, actually it does. And even with it being the Cincinnati Bengals, I don't know why you're retaining Zach Taylor. I don't know if you didn't watch this season. I know you lost Joe Burrow. I know there were injuries to deal with on the offensive side of the ball, but the defensive side of the ball was the problem. The defensive side of the ball was a huge problem with the Cincinnati Bengals. They were a sieve on defense. You watch this team all year long, and even without Joe Burrow, you felt like they could compete if they could figure it out defensively, and they just didn't. So to keep Zach Taylor, and I know he's the offensive-minded head coach, but there's two sides of the ball when you're a head coach, and that side failed. It's the Matt Eberflus effect, and now you're going to go and let this guy have another season? I don't like it at all.
It just becomes kind of who they are. That's their personality, is cheap, get rid of players who want to get paid, keep one or two, which is not nearly enough to be a successful franchise. I think they really felt like in Cincinnati, Raphael, that the run they made 3 or 4 years ago when they beat the Chiefs to get into that one late season run for Joe Burrow, I think they've been living in that and not living in the here and the now.
What if Joe Burrow had something to do with this? We've all seen him in the last couple of months with his attitude. Maybe does he want to stay? Does he want to go? Maybe they asked him, hey, who do you want to be your head coach? Maybe he's the reason why they're giving him another year.
Man, that's a good point. I mean, we're talking about he's a top 5 quarterback when he's healthy.
Yep.
When he's healthy, he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. And they need Jamar Chase to buy in as well. Because right now, Jamar Chase, yesterday, he was asked after the game, what are you going to be doing? Oh, people talk about Cancun. I don't have anything else to do. How about I need to lead this team in the offseason? I need to get these guys together and work out. That's what I would have liked to have heard. Not I'm going to Cancun. Although that could be fun hanging out with Jamar Chase in Cancun. All right, we're only halfway done here on the very first show of 2026, at least in my mind. Coming up on the other side, we look back and we also look forward. 6 games this week in the NFL. What are the best matchups? What's the biggest disappointment? What are the teams or team that nobody wants to play? We tackle it next. This is Coach and Company. Thanks for hanging with us live right here on Stadium. All right, gentlemen, we are down to the final four in the college football playoffs, and Ole Miss continues to be the baby faces. They continue to be the team that will not say die, and we'll get into the whole coaching situation later, but word's coming out of Ole Miss that Trinidad Chambliss has agreed to a new deal, as if he's an NFL free agent, to stay the quarterback of Ole Miss and play there next season if and only if he's granted a 6th year of eligibility. DG, welcome back. What do you make of Trinidad, and how much money do you think it cost them to keep him? Because I think he's going to be the number one quarterback next year.
He's definitely going to be the number one quarterback, but him getting another year just adds money in his pocket. We're talking about multi-million dollars to bring him back. He's a good story that kind of rose this year. I expect him to be back and get that 6th year.
Big Chuck, are you surprised that he signed a new deal not knowing what the finances are?
Definitely surprised. I thought he was a shoo-in to go to LSU. I thought he was going to finish his career with Ole Miss and join up with Lane. So, yeah, my hats off to him, though. If he can generate more revenue on the 6th year, go for it. But I'm still shocked he is not going to be a Tiger.
Raphael, what about you?
Completely agree. I thought it was LSU bound for sure, but man, Ole Miss is going to have a great offense again next year if he gets that 6th year.
Why would he want to go? But Brandon, here's the key, though. Charlie Weiss, that offensive coordinator, and who calls your plays absolutely matters. He's gone regardless, whether it's LSU or some of the reports of the Giants. I think it's going to be LSU. But it all depends on who they bring back to run this offense, yes?
Yeah, look, I like a kid that wants to stay with his team, that wants to win with his team. However, he's no longer a kid. He's like 27 years old, and he's finishing up his doctorate at Ole Miss. I mean, that's the only other reason why he'd be going for a 6th year, right?
Well, and he also, because he's a little bit undersized, I think he could make more playing college football next year than he would make in the NFL. And that's crazy to say, but there's some players that is their reality. And the way he's playing right now, he's the star of these playoffs so far. He played unbelievably well against Georgia. All right, gentlemen, time to look forward. I love this segment. We're back in just 5 seconds. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We are halfway home. We're just past the bottom of the hour. If you're watching us live on the East Coast, it is 10:32. If you're watching us on the West Coast, where I'm sitting right now, it is 7:32 a.m. Eastern time. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we've got our 2 games in our NBA showcase. But right here and right now, we want to look back and also look forward. We have 6 games in the NFL this coming week. 2 on Saturday, the Rams, Carolina, Green Bay, and Chicago. 3 games on Sunday, and then ESPN, congratulations. You get the Texans and the Steelers live from Pittsburgh, just like we had last night on NBC. So I got to see my guys, DG, Chuck, Raphael, and Brandon in that order. So, gentlemen, we're going to piggyback all the way down. Question number 1, DG, what is the game in the AFC and the NFC that you think is going to be the best one? Go.
I'm going to start with the AFC and the Chargers going to Patriots. Is Justin Herbert going to show up? Is Drake May going to turn into a pumpkin? We'll see. But then a sleeper. It's the Rams and the Panthers. The Panthers shouldn't be there, but can they shock the world? I'm excited.
Jaguars. I'm going to go with the Jaguars game against the Bills. Everyone's counting on the Bills to come in and run this Jaguars team out of town, but I think they come in as hot as anyone in the league. I definitely like the Jaguars to shock the Bills in this one. I wouldn't even say shock, defeat the Bills in this one.
And NFC, Chuck, please.
Oh, yeah. My apologies. Eagles, 49ers. This is the Purdy revenge game. If anyone don't forget that he got injured in 2023, he gets to come back. This one, San Francisco went through 3 or 4 quarterbacks. I think San Francisco has a lively dog. We're going to have to erase what happened in the last game against the Seahawks. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
For this show only, it has to be the Packers and Bears. And why not? It's that game. Packers have owned Chicago as of late in the last 10 years. I'm excited. Can the Bears get that hiccup of 2-game losing streak off their back and beat the struggling Packers? And it's got to be Pittsburgh and Houston. Can the Pittsburgh Steelers do anything with that Houston Texans defense? Pittsburgh's at home. Can you score at home like last night?
In the AFC, I agree with Chuck. It's the Jaguars and the Bills. That's going to be a fun game. You got Josh Allen, who should be going to the Super Bowl without the other quarterbacks and the other head coaches that are not in the playoffs this year. But I think that the Jaguars are just that team this year, which is crazy to say because I've never believed in them. And now Packers-Bears, man. Come on. It's Packers-Bears. It's the best rivalry in football in the NFC. Are you kidding me? And now you get it in the playoffs. Ben Johnson says he likes beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. Now he gets a chance to do it.
I agree. If somehow they get a quarterback to play for the Packers, I said best game, not best rivalry, not the game that's heated. I'm talking if Jordan Love can play, that's going to be a great game. If they can't, the Bears roll. And did we ever think, guys, that Mr. Flo Hair, Mr. Locks, Mr. Jacksonville Jaguars starting quarterback would be added to the list? Because the two nemesis for Josh Allen, they're not in. And you can count Burrow as the third one, too. All three for Josh Allen are sitting at home. If he doesn't make it this year, it's their own fault. It's their own fault. But they're playing on the road because they couldn't get the job done against several teams and games that they should have won. That's absolute fact. All right, question number 2. DG, I'll start with you one more time. Who's the team that this week or in the playoffs nobody wants to play?
Definitely this week and definitely through the playoffs. It is the Patriots. You have to go into New England. It's going to be cold, but also they've been consistent the whole year. I think they're going to be stout throughout the entire playoffs.
I'm going to Duval County. I'm going back to them Jaguars. Sunshine, we'd say, is playing the best ball of his life. I just think with Liam Cohen and company, I really love this Jaguars team.
Yeah, I'm going to Duval as well because everyone wants to talk about Trevor Lawrence. But why don't we talk about the running game and their defense? That's the reason why no one wants to play them, not because of Trevor Lawrence.
Let's calm down on Duval. It's not Duval. It's some Houston Texans and that badass defense that they have. They destroy offensive lines. They destroy quarterbacks. And we saw what they did to Buffalo not even a month ago. I love this Texans team. I think they go to the Super Bowl.
Pardon me? What did you just say?
I think the Texans go to the Super Bowl.
Wow. You actually did answer the question correctly because I said throughout the playoffs, who's the team that they don't want to play. But at some point, their offense has got to do something. I hate agreeing with Brandon. But to me, the answer is the Texans. It's nobody wants to play them. But it doesn't mean that they're going to walk in and beat whoever they play. If the offense could match the defense, 1,000%. But let's remember, they're a wild card team, just like the Chargers, just like the Bills. So most of their games, if not all, will be for all these wild card teams will be on the road. Can the Texans and these other two teams win on the road? That's the big question. Now, as a lot of other teams, so what's 14, carry the 2, take it down. So 18 teams don't make the playoffs. DG, in your mind, who was the biggest disappointment in 2025?
All right, America, do me a favor. Just let's keep this between us. The Kansas City Chiefs. I know that hurts me. It doesn't hurt me at all. But the Kansas City Chiefs weren't good to start the season. I get it. Patty Mahomes was hurt, but it doesn't matter. They weren't good from day one. They got somewhat good midway through the season, but they never really showed out. They're my biggest disappointment in the entire season.
And I would say the Chiefs would be the obvious answer, but that Super Bowl curse, the loser curse is real. I'll go with the Ravens. They were such big favorites to win the AFC North. I think they were slated to win 11 or 12 games. For them to not even make the playoffs, yeah, I'll go with Baltimore.
I think another team that was supposed to win a division, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Boy, they looked horrible towards the end of the season. And I actually felt bad for Baker Mayfield yesterday watching the game at home, watching him stay at home for the playoffs. I actually felt bad for him.
Yeah, it only took like 8 straight AFC championship games and 4 Super Bowls for the curse to kick in for the Chiefs. But I think this is the Lions, man. They've got to be. You lose your 2 coordinators, you're still expected to be a front runner in this division. And Dan Campbell and the boys just did not show up all year long in the NFC North, a very winnable division, and they couldn't get it done. It's the Lions.
Now, while I appreciate the Chiefs answer and the Ravens answer, the Chiefs obviously are the when you're so good for damn near a decade, obviously you're going to fall off at some point. That's why I wouldn't call them the biggest disappointment. They are a disappointment, though, 1,000%. For me, when you're the most valuable franchise, not just in the NFL, but in all of American sports, and we're now pushing 30 years, 30, since the Dallas Cowboys have done anything. And you also have the highest paid player in the entire sport, and you do nothing. You also have 2 all-pro caliber wide receivers, and you do nothing. To me, this is not even close. It's the Dallas Cowboys that are the biggest disappointment. And you know what, boys? They're not close to getting back to where their fans want them to be. They're not a playoff team. And they could add 2, 3, 4 great players. They're still not a playoff team. And that's going to suck when we sit right back here 1 year from today and call them the biggest disappointment after 30 full years. All right, next question. We now know that DG, Zach Taylor, is going to be retained in Cincinnati. We know that Stefanski has been fired. We know that Raheem Morris has been fired. But of the other coaches out there, what coach do you think should get the get out of here by end of day today?
Oh, I got two. One, Zach Taylor should be gone. Like, there's no reason Cincinnati 24-27, the last 3 seasons doesn't make sense. But also Jonathan Gannon from the Arizona Cardinals, he needs to be let go. That team looks terrible. They need to go ahead and move on this quickly.
And Raheem Morris was going to be my favorite, but I'm going to pivot to John Harbaugh. All the blown fourth quarter leads, and he's a ex-special teams coach, and he's out there. His kicker's kicking it out of bounds, missing kicks. It's just a total collapse. I think it's kind of like Andy Reid with the Eagles. His time has come.
How is Morris the first head coach fired? He was 3-1 to be the first head coach fired. Pete Carroll should have been the first one fired. He'd be gone by, I don't know, 5 minutes. I might refresh my computer and he's got fired. So Pete Carroll's my number one.
Cover your ears, Kimberly, because it's got to be Mike Tomlin. Look, I know that they won last night, and I know that they're going to the playoffs, but it's time for a new voice in Pittsburgh. It's time for Mike Tomlin to step aside. It's time for them to move on, just like it was time when they did it with Bill Cowher, even though they were still winning games. I think it's time for Mike Tomlin to step aside.
2 decades is too long. In the NFL, these are pros. It's not college. You're not building a program. But they have treated Pittsburgh, 3 coaches in the last 60 years, something like that. They just don't fire them. So it's a great job to have. John Harbaugh has been there 18 seasons, and he's been great. But when we look at what have they done in the playoffs, it's been very, very little. And certainly when you have Lamar Jackson, an all-pro quarterback, and you don't win a Super Bowl, not even close, at some point, you've got to go. But I'm going to give you guys an answer that's going to shock you, that you're probably going to shake your head and say, Coach is crazy. The guy that should be gone today is Dan Campbell in Detroit, because he is – I knew you were going to do that, DG. But when you really look at this team with the talent that they have, we know it's only a 4 or 6 year window. We've seen it with the Chiefs. We've seen it with the 49ers. And you cannot give even one more season of Jared Goff away. And all of a sudden, Dan Campbell says, I'm going to call plays. I'm going to be the one that calls the plays. How did that go for them the last 4 to 6 weeks? He's not a good head coach. He's a good rah-rah guy. Make him a coordinator. Make him a special teams guy. But he should not be a head coach. Now, do I think he's going to be? No. But the question was, who should be? Last question. There is a Monday night football game, which means that no matter who wins, Houston or Pittsburgh, DG, one of them is going to have a short week regardless heading into week number 2 of the playoffs. Is this a severe disadvantage in your mind for the Texans or for the Steelers?
No, the biggest disadvantage is Saturday. Just like the NCAA basketball tournament, nobody likes to play that first game. You don't have it. I think it's actually an advantage. You see what's happening in the playoffs. I would go ahead and label it advantage for sure.
I think it's an advantage also. And not even talking about it being a short week on the following week. I'm talking about like the Steelers. They're coming off a short week this week, so they get the extra day to prepare. I think it's an advantage.
I agree. Give me the advantage for the team, advantage for TV ratings as well, because there's nothing else on Monday.
I think you guys are crazy. I think it's a huge disadvantage for either team, especially for the Pittsburgh Steelers with a 42-year-old quarterback on a short week going up against this Texas defense. If they come out of this and now you got a short week to get back at it, I don't like this at all. I don't like it for any team, but let alone for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, Brandon, I agree with you. I don't like having a Monday playoff game, but when you're making this kind of money as players, as teams, billions of dollars in TV contracts, you got to have it. If ESPN is going to pay whatever they're paying, they need to have a Monday night football game, certainly in the first week. But I think it's a real physical disadvantage because of who's playing. Aaron Rodgers needs that extra day physically, but we'll see. I like the game, though. I really, really like the game. Texas and the Steelers on Monday night. All right, coming up next, it's time for our little NBA showcase as the NBA starts to take center stage. 2 big ones tonight. Coach and Company right here on Stadium. All right, as many of you know, my PGA Tour schedule starts up in about a month, but until then, TGL, the Indoor Golf League, is back. Started on December 28th, and Brooks Koepka, the 5-time major champion, only 7 players to ever do that, DG has quit Live Golf. He cited family reasons to come back home to Florida and not play or Live anymore. Rory McIlroy, one of the founders of TGL, he says he would love to have Koepka play in TGL. Do you think we'll see that happen?
I think we definitely will. It might not happen this year, but I think going forward, we're going to see Brooks Koepka back. This will be a great year for him to get his head right in a sense, and honestly move on and make another bag. He already made one already.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that it wasn't $100 million. It was $25 million a year. So it wasn't as much money as everybody thought it was for the top guys, Brandon. But TGL might be a nice way to get back into United States golf and then tackle the PGA Tour.
Yeah, no, I agree with DG. I don't know how soon it'll happen just because he cited family reasons, but I think at some point you're going to see Brooks Koepka back. Golf is just better when you have the best in the world playing, and Brooks Koepka is absolutely one of the best golfers in the world.
Guys, let's be honest with what's going on here. Citing family reasons, they played most of their 14 events outside of the United States. Liv has. The PGA Tour plays 95% of their events inside of the United States. That's what it is. Not, I want to be back home with my wife and kids. No husband's ever said that. Right, Raphael?
Oh, I always want to be there.
Do you think this will happen?
Yes, I think it happens because Koepka's a name in golf. Everyone knows his name in golf, and I think it'd be good for both sides.
There's only been 7 men and 3 women that have ever won at least 5 majors or more. That's how elite this guy is. And I think we forget about that. Plus, he's a badass. Plus, he's very, very likable. He's kind of like Bill Belichick in a way that what he puts on for the cameras is just for the cameras. That's not really who he is. I love Brooks Koepka. And I think, I hope he finds his way back to the tour and TGL. We're back live in 5 seconds. All right, we'll get to our best bets in about 5 minutes as we lock it in. But tonight there are 8 NBA games on the hardwood, and there's a matchup of the top 2 teams in the Eastern Conference. DG, you are my NBA guy, so I'm going to start with you. The Knicks are on a 3-game slide. The Pistons just returned. They've had a couple of games at home, but they had a long road trip out west, so they're finding their legs again. What do you make of this game tonight, which I think could be a preview of the Eastern Conference Finals?
100%. I love both of these teams. They're going to be really good and be there at the end of the season, but 2.5 are what the Knicks are getting. And at this point, I don't understand why. It's only because Tobias Harris and Jalen Duren aren't playing in this game. But the Knicks, honestly, have not looked good as of late. And so I would favor the Pistons at home here. Give me money line plus 115. But in all honesty, I'm probably looking at that spread at plus 2.5.
Yeah, well, Raphael, you're my numbers guy. Make this make sense for a team that's lost 3 in a row and they're on the road to be favored.
This doesn't make sense. There's a huge question mark for me. I didn't know Harris was a two-point guy to move a number. So I agree. Detroit Pistons is the play tonight. There's no way this is a plus 2.5 by tip-off.
And Brandon, you're on the Pistons money line, correct?
I am on the Pistons money line. Look, Kate Cunningham is a dog, and this Pistons team's playing really good basketball. Beat the Cavaliers last night. I think that they're rolling right now, and the Knicks team is sputtering and dealing with injuries, trying to get healthy.
No doubt about it. Big Chuck, let me come over to you because Detroit, it's really hard when you're a team that doesn't have a lot of history in the last 30 years since the Bad Boys. But Cade Cunningham, he is a dog, 26.7 points per game. Your take?
Oh, absolute dog. That's why I was looking at the injury report. I was wondering if he was banged up. So I know they were on a back-to-back. I still can't figure out why the Knicks are favored in this one. Love the Pistons in the spot. The last time they were dogs, they beat the Celtics. And I think this is going to be more of a defensive battle. I see that total keeps coming in. I think we see a lower scoring game, but love the Pistons as a dog.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the Celtics. They're starting to play a little bit better basketball too. So I think they're starting to get their momentum going. Now out west, there's been a team that half of their wins, DG, have come in the last 9 games. And I'm talking about the LA Clippers. Tonight, there's a lot of star power on the court between the Warriors and the Clippers, but this is 8 versus 12. But Kawhi Leonard, this is why he makes $50 million plus a year. Because when he's healthy, he is a beast, coming out 45 against the Utah Jazz. A week and a half ago, he had 55. So this Clippers team, it's kind of like buying low and then selling high. You can still get them at a pretty good price, but I don't know for how much longer.
Yeah, I love the Clippers tonight, especially at home. They play with the wall, but also they're playing against Draymond Green. He's made 90 field goals this year, coach, but he's had 86 turnovers. That doesn't make sense. Sounds like a bad player to me.
Brandon, right now, Draymond Green, it almost feels like there's a really bad divorce coming. He's at the end of his career. He's getting thrown out. He's fighting with Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr says, we need him on the floor. And I'm sure behind the scenes, Steph Curry is talking to him. But Steph Curry doesn't come off to me like a Michael Jordan or a Kobe Bryant, that he's going to pull Draymond aside and say, get your shit together, because that's exactly what they need him to do.
Yeah, it is exactly what they need him to do. He's one outburst short of coming into the game and finding his stuff just sitting in the parking lot. Like, that's where he's at in this divorce. I think it's ugly with Draymond Green, but Draymond Green loves basketball. That's one thing that we do know about Draymond Green. And he is one of those guys that if he shows up, he can make a difference. I think he shows up tonight. I think the Golden State Warriors have a good game. I like Golden State tonight.
It's really hard, I find right now as a big NBA fan, to watch these legends that continue to play. And I think a lot of the reasons that is Steph Curry or LeBron James are playing north of 35, 36 years old is because the bag is so large. We're talking $50 million for both of these guys and other stars in the league. But to watch the teams play this way at the end of a career, it's really, really hard to watch. I want Steph Curry to go out with a bang or a late playoff run, not in the play-in tournament. So we'll see what happens, but tonight should be a good one. Warriors Clippers, 10 p.m. Eastern time. I believe Mondays are Peacock or NBC, one of those two. Peacock? Yep.
Same company, yeah.
Same company, so it doesn't matter. I think Tuesdays is that 11 o'clock game. That's like, oh my God. For those of you who live on the East Coast, stop it already. All right. I believe in Joe Hendry. No, I believe that we're going to have 5 winning days here on the show, but it starts with today. It's time. Let's lock it in. All right, everybody, 10 seconds or less. Just 1 or 2 nuggets is all that I need. DG, let's start with you.
Hornets at the Thunder, first quarter over 56.5 at -110. The model has this at 61.9. I love both teams to get up early. And then the Nuggets and the 76ers, first quarter over 55.5 at -110. I know they say you can't have favorite kids, but I have a favorite play. I love this one tonight.
I'm going to go next because I have with you, DG, and I don't know when you have a little bit of a cold or bad Wi-Fi if this works, but let's try it. You and I have a little bit of synergy. Yeet. The rest of you suck. I'm going to go Hornets first quarter plus the 5. 4 of the last 5 games, they have finished within this number. In fact, 3 of those games, they have been leading at the end of the first quarter. They're playing the Thunder tonight. You're like, Coach, are you crazy? Yeah, crazy like a fox. The Thunder late lost last night. They're going to be sleepwalking tonight, at least for the first 12 minutes. I love this play. Then Suns Rockets under 222.5, -110. Kimberly, I see you. Big Cheesy, I see you too. The Suns were the team that beat the Thunder last night on a late 3 by Devin Booker. This will be another high-level 2 winning teams in the West, so they're going to be playing really, really hard defense. So I love this under tonight in H-Town. Raphael, my guy, coming over to you.
Going to the FCS championship game. Give me Illinois State plus 10.5. Are they going to win the chip? No, but they're going to cover in the chip, so I'll take the plus 10.5. I think the Bobcats too big for them. And then give me SFA, McNeese State over 142 in college hoops. McNeese State's last 6 home games, 5 of them have gone over the total. Should be a high-scoring game.
All right, Big Chuck, we got a little day soccer and on the ice. Talk to me.
Yeah, speaking of foxes, we have Leicester City and West Brom. And Leicester, they just cannot seem to keep teams from scoring in the first half. They've allowed a first half goal in 4 straight and 7 total over that span. Go and give me the Baggies. West Brom, first half team total over half a goal. I also like the both teams to score in that one. A little stay on your toes. Then the NHL nightcap, Detroit, Ottawa, Senators, they just have been lighting up the scoreboard of late. Went over the total in 5 of 7. And then Detroit, the Red Wings, they seem to score as well on the road. 6-9 and went over for them. We'll go ahead and roll with the over 6 in O-Town.
Yeah, Leicester got blown out 3-0 in their last game. I watched that. You can see a lot of those England championship games on Paramount Plus. Brandon, what's up?
Let's go Pistons money line at home. They are dogs at home to a stumbling Knicks team. I like the Pistons tonight. Plus 125 is where I got them. And then Rangers minus 1.5 on the ice against the Utah Mammoth. Utah Mammoth love giving up goals as of late, and the Rangers and Artemi Panarin love scoring them. It's plus 200 for minus 1.5 against the Utah Mammoth at home.
All right, 10 plays. If we go 7-3, we will have the Wheel of Doom on Tuesday's show. All right, Raphael, make me a little bit smarter.
We're going to LA. The Los Angeles Clippers have won each of their last 7 home games against the Golden State Warriors.
Wow, that's a very, very good nugget. One programming note, there will not be a Monday Night Grind tonight. However, we will have a show next Monday night for the Texans and the Steelers. Do not forget, later today, 2 to 4 Eastern time on SiriusXM, it's Off the Ropes with the Coach. And then 5 p.m. Eastern time on our other YouTube channel, the Coach and Bro Show. Tonight's going to be a big one, guys. A big one. The 1-year anniversary of the Netflix deal for Monday Night Raw, and The Rock put a tease on his Instagram today, so it looks like he will be there in Brooklyn tonight. Great job today, boys. Good start to the year. Producer man, give me that one shot. It's now time for all of you to go out into the world, for you to pay it forward, be kind to one another, and understand this: there is only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire team, love them all. Big Chuck, Raphael, Brandon, TG, Mikey P behind the scenes, helping out producer man who always makes the show look like $1 million. I am simply the coach, trying to keep this train on said track. We grind for you so we can win with you. It's what we're all about every single day. This is Coaching Company live on the Stadium Network. Good luck today. We'll see you tomorrow.